Well, folks, Donald Trump is causing more chaos and more panic around the world as he seems almost insistent on the United States going to war with Iran. So, I have some major breaking news updates on the situation in Iran, Donald Trump's involvement, what he's doing right now, that have just come out in the last 10 to 20 minutes at the time of filming this. And as we go through all this news, I want everybody to remember that Donald Trump called himself the pro peace president, that him and JD Vance were the pro peace ticket. And now we're involved in significantly more conflict than we were under Joe Biden, the guy that they said was plunging us into World War III. So let's start here with a Newsweek article, some reporting from them and Reuters. The United States is sending F-16, F-22, and F-35 jets to the Middle East as this conflict has escalated. The U.S. military is increasing its air power in the Middle East by deploying additional fighter jets and extending current warplane missions as the conflict between Israel and Iran intensifies, three U.S. officials told Reuters. One official confirmed the move includes the deployment of advanced aircraft, such as the ones we just listed, F-16s, F-22s, F-35s, aimed at reinforcing American military presence and deterrence in the volatile region. Two of the officials emphasized that the deployment is defensive in nature, noting the fighter jets have been used primarily to intercept and destroy drones and incoming projectiles. So they're calling this defensive, but nonetheless, it is still a major escalation. And what's interesting is that this is happening at the same time that we just got this breaking news. It seems like these jets are being moved to the Middle East for a reason. It's not just there for deterrence, just to say, hey, we're there. It's because now the United States, and this is a major report that we just got, now the United States has intelligence that shows that Iran has been preparing for possible strikes on U.S. bases. That's right, Iran is considering striking American military bases, killing and injuring American soldiers. The report from the New York Times says that Iran has prepared missiles and other military equipment for strikes on U.S. bases in the Middle East should the United States join Israel's war against the country. According to American officials who have reviewed intelligence reports, the United States has sent about 36 refueling aircraft to Europe that could be used to assist fighter jets protecting American bases, or that would be used to extend the range of bombers involved in any possible strike on Iranian nuclear facilities. Fears of a wider war are growing among American officials as Israel presses the White House to intervene in its conflict with Iran. If the United States joins the Israeli campaign and strikes Fordo, a key Iranian nuclear facility, the Iranian-backed Houthi militia will almost certainly resume striking ships in the Red Sea, the official added, which would be devastating. But this, in and of itself, is the most concerning part of this report, that Iran is preparing missiles and other military equipment for strikes on U.S. bases, which puts American troops in harm's way. And again, I just want to remind everybody, because it's such a pertinent point, that Donald Trump before the election not only called himself the pro-peace candidate, but he also said that no country would want to mess with him. That he's so strong and such a great negotiator that a country wouldn't even consider launching any attacks on Americans, and that we would be so safe under Donald Trump. Now, Iran is considering striking the United States, and Donald Trump seems almost insistent on striking them. And we have this article from Axios, which was also breaking news earlier today, that Donald Trump is considering striking Iran. Ahead of his crucial Situation Room meeting, Donald Trump met with his national security team in the Situation Room at the White House to make decisions about U.S. policy towards the war between Israel and Iran. The U.S. officials talked to Axios about this. The U.S. officials said Trump is seriously considering joining the war and launching a U.S. strike against Iran's nuclear facilities, especially its underground uranium enrichment facility, as we mentioned, in Fordo. Trump returned early from the G7 summit to discuss what was going on in the Middle East, but said that he wasn't interested in a ceasefire, but a real end to the war and Iran's nuclear program. The White House has discussed the idea of meeting directly with the Iranians this week, but Trump said that would depend on what happens when he got back to Washington. Now, what's interesting is that two Israeli officials told Axios that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel believe that Donald Trump is likely to enter the war. So they, on a personal level, believe that Donald Trump is likely to enter the war. And we actually have some reporting to coincide with this. Now, I will say take this with a grain of salt, because so far from what I've seen, no American media outlets have corroborated this reporting. So I do want to stress that this is not 100% confirmed, but it is something that you should know about. According to Israeli media, Channel 12, They're reporting that the US is likely to join the war against Iran tonight. They say that a decision has been made. We don't have any confirmation on that in the United States, so take that with a grain of salt, but I just want to give you as much information as possible, and you can do with it as you please. But in addition to this reporting, in addition to Axios saying that Trump is ready and Iran is possibly ready for a strike against the United States, according to the New York Times, Donald Trump is, in my view, making it abundantly clear that he does want to enter the war with Iran. He kind of went on a posting spree today, posting a number of different things, starting today at 11:55 a.m., saying, quote, "We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff. Nobody does it better than the good old USA." Now, people are arguing that this post indicates that we are already at war with Iran because Trump said we now have control over the skies of Iran. Who's we? What do you mean we? And that probably indicates, the United States and Israel, but if the United States has control over the airspace of another country, that's a pretty big deal. That indicates that we are very much involved in said war and conflict, and it only got worse from there when Donald Trump continued to post about Iran, saying, quote, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, kill." In brackets, I guess he didn't think that we got the message, at least for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Again, this appears to be a threat toward Iran and their leader. And he's also saying again, we. Who's we? Who is we in this context? He has not clarified as to who we is in terms of knowing where the supreme leader is, having control over the skies over Iran. He's just being very vague, which has caused a lot of concern and anxiety, not only here in the United States among the intelligence community, but just around the world. People in Europe who are watching this take place, they're like, what the hell is this guy doing? And then later, just a few minutes after that, all he put out was unconditional surrender. He just, 2 words in all caps with an exclamation mark at the end, unconditional surrender. Donald Trump is continuing to conduct foreign policy via social media. He does it in the middle of the night and also on social media, a total recipe for failure. And so far, his moves have caused a lot of chaos, a lot of panic, as I said, not only here in the United States, but around the world. So I'm going to keep an eye out for what's going on between the United States and Iran. I'll let you know if any major updates come through. But the fact that Iran is considering a strike and we, the United States, are moving more military equipment to the Middle East, that can't be a good sign. That's just my view. We don't have anything further than that right now. We're all kind of anxiously waiting for more, but that just cannot be a good sign in my view. So I will leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more updates and more videos. Drop a like on the video, comment some American flags, some blue hearts, and thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate it. Have an amazing rest of your day, and we will talk soon.